Tensions escalate in the Middle East with new military actions and diplomatic challenges. From a naval blockade to rocket attacks, the situation is rapidly changing. Here are today's top 10 stories you need to know. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, a growing divide in public sentiment regarding military actions is becoming evident. Many citizens express concerns about the potential consequences of further military engagement, fearing it could lead to wider conflict and loss of life. Polls indicate a significant portion of the population is wary of military intervention, advocating for diplomatic solutions instead. This sentiment is echoed in various public forums, where discussions revolve around the impact of war on families and communities. Conversely, some segments of the population support strong military responses, believing it necessary to protect national interests. As public opinion continues to evolve, policymakers are urged to consider these perspectives when making decisions on military engagement. The outcome of these discussions will play a crucial role in shaping future U.S. foreign policy. Despite the rising tensions and military actions in the Middle East, diplomatic efforts are ongoing to seek a resolution to the conflict. Various nations are engaging in dialogue, attempting to mediate between the U.S. and Iran. The urgency for diplomacy is heightened as military actions escalate, with leaders emphasizing the need for a peaceful solution. International organizations are also stepping in, offering platforms for negotiations and discussions aimed at de-escalating tensions. The complexities of the situation, however, present challenges for diplomats, as both sides maintain hardline stances. In the coming days, the effectiveness of these efforts will be tested, as the potential for further military engagement looms. The global community remains hopeful that dialogue can pave the way for a peaceful resolution. The ongoing conflict in the Middle East is beginning to show significant economic repercussions globally, as nations brace for potential fallout. With oil prices surging and markets reacting to instability, the economic landscape is shifting rapidly. Countries that heavily depend on oil imports are particularly vulnerable to price increases, which could lead to inflationary pressures. Economic analysts warn that prolonged conflict could hinder global economic recovery efforts, already strained by various factors such as the pandemic and supply chain disruptions. The interconnectedness of global markets means that instability in one region can have ripple effects worldwide, prompting governments to prepare for potential economic downturns. As the situation unfolds, stakeholders in both the public and private sectors are urged to strategize for potential challenges ahead. The next steps taken by governments and financial institutions will be crucial in mitigating the economic impact of this conflict. In light of the escalating conflict in the Middle East, U.S. officials are taking proactive steps to address public concerns regarding national security and military involvement. In response to rising tensions, town hall meetings and informational briefings are being organized across the nation to inform citizens about the current geopolitical situation and the government's strategies for ensuring their safety. Officials emphasize the importance of vigilance and preparedness, urging Americans to remain calm as international hostilities intensify. This proactive communication approach aims to foster transparency and build trust, as citizens seek assurance amid uncertainty. As military movements escalate, the government's outreach will be critical in managing public perception and alleviating anxieties. Increased engagement from national security experts and local leaders is expected in the coming days, providing timely updates on developments and their potential impact on domestic affairs. This outreach is essential for maintaining public confidence, especially as the administration prepares for potential shifts in policy and military engagement. As tensions rise in the Middle East, oil prices have surged dramatically, reflecting fears of supply disruptions due to the ongoing conflict between Iran and the U.S. The situation has led to a spike in global oil prices, which could have far-reaching economic consequences. Analysts predict that continued violence and military engagements could lead to even higher prices, impacting consumers and businesses worldwide. The energy market is responding to the potential for reduced oil supply, with traders reacting to news of increased military action in the region. Countries heavily reliant on Middle Eastern oil are particularly vulnerable to these fluctuations, creating a ripple effect in their economies. With inflationary pressures already a concern, the rise in oil prices could exacerbate economic challenges faced by many nations. As the international community seeks solutions, the next steps taken by both the U.S. and Iran will be critical in determining the future trajectory of global oil markets. A new report has surfaced revealing that Iran has secretly acquired a Chinese spy satellite, significantly enhancing its ability to monitor U.S. military bases throughout the Middle East. This acquisition comes amid rising tensions between Iran and the West, particularly following the U.S. withdrawal from the nuclear deal in 2018. The satellite reportedly provides Iran with real-time surveillance data, enabling it to track military movements and deployments in the region with unprecedented precision. Such advanced technology not only bolsters Iran's strategic capabilities, but also poses a direct challenge to U.S. interests and those of its allies. U.S. officials have expressed alarm over this development, prompting calls for stronger countermeasures and heightened military readiness. The implications of this satellite acquisition could further complicate already strained diplomatic relations between the U.S., Iran, and their respective allies. As both sides navigate this precarious landscape, the potential for miscalculation remains high, making it imperative for diplomatic channels to remain open to prevent escalation in the region. In response to heightened military tensions, Iran has launched retaliatory strikes across the Gulf, targeting U.S. military bases and Gulf nations. These actions follow the recent announcement of a U.S. naval blockade and signify an escalation in hostilities between the two nations. Iranian officials have made it clear that they view the blockade as an act of war, prompting their military to respond with force. The strikes have raised alarms among neighboring countries, who fear being drawn into the conflict. Reports indicate that military assets from various Gulf states are being placed on high alert as the situation continues to develop. The potential for an expanded conflict remains a significant concern, with analysts warning that this could lead to a wider regional war. As both sides prepare for further military engagements, the international community is urging restraint and a return to diplomatic negotiations. The next few hours could prove critical as both Iran and the U.S. navigate this dangerous escalation. Hezbollah's leader has publicly urged the Lebanese government to withdraw from scheduled direct talks with Israel, which are set to take place in Washington. This call comes amid ongoing military conflicts between the two nations, particularly in southern Lebanon, where fighting has intensified in recent weeks. The talks were initially perceived as a potential pathway to peace after decades of hostility, but the recent escalation in violence has prompted Hezbollah to reassess its position. Analysts suggest that Hezbollah's stance reflects a broader strategy to maintain its influence within Lebanon while resisting perceived Israeli aggression. This development underscores the fragile nature of regional diplomacy, where one misstep can reignite long-standing tensions. The potential cancellation of these talks could have significant ramifications for regional stability, as both sides remain entrenched in their positions, complicating any future negotiations. Additionally, this situation heightens concerns among neighboring countries about a possible spillover effect, potentially destabilizing the already volatile region. As military actions escalate, the prospects for peace appear increasingly dim, raising urgent questions about the future of Lebanon's relations with Israel and the possibility of renewed conflict. In a significant escalation of violence, over 20 rockets were fired from Lebanon into northern Israel, marking a dangerous uptick in cross-border hostilities. This attack comes as Israel continues its military operations in southern Lebanon, aimed at neutralizing threats from Hezbollah, an Iran-backed militant group. The rocket fire has resulted in injuries, including a reported shrapnel wound to a 61-year-old man, raising serious concerns about civilian safety in the region. The ongoing tensions are compounded by a recent report revealing that Iran has acquired a Chinese spy satellite, enhancing its surveillance capabilities over U.S. military bases in the region and complicating the geopolitical landscape. These military actions are part of a broader conflict that has intensified since the U.S. decision to reimpose sanctions on Iran, which has fueled regional animosities. With direct talks between Israeli and Lebanese officials taking place in Washington, the future of these discussions appears uncertain, as both sides brace for potential retaliatory actions. As the situation develops, the region remains on high alert, with fears of an expanded conflict looming large. Experts warn that without effective diplomacy, the cycle of violence could spiral further, potentially drawing in more regional actors. Former President Donald Trump has announced a naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, a vital waterway responsible for approximately 20% of global oil shipments. This decision emerges against a backdrop of escalating tensions between the United States and Iran, with both nations engaging in military posturing and inflammatory rhetoric in recent weeks. The blockade is intended to exert pressure on Iran, compelling it to abandon its controversial nuclear program and cease its aggressive maneuvers in the region. This bold action has provoked sharp criticism from various international leaders, who express concern about the potential for military confrontations that could destabilize an already fragile area. Iran's reaction has been immediate and defiant, with officials threatening to retaliate by targeting U.S. military assets stationed in the Gulf. The implications of this blockade are far-reaching, as they may significantly impact global oil prices and disrupt international markets already reeling from supply chain issues. Analysts caution that sustained tensions could lead to a volatile spike in oil prices, affecting economies worldwide. The coming days are critical, as diplomatic efforts intensify to de-escalate the situation and prevent a broader conflict. Observers anticipate that the responses from U.S. allies in the region will play a pivotal role in shaping the future of this geopolitical crisis. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more updates on these critical developments. Which story shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments.